I'm going to pick back up at 20. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace thy bosom of a stranger?
Like, when you do me a favor and look up that word ravish on your phone. Or if you know.
Ravish means
it's like getting
partaken, like
literally
overcome.
Yeah.
Right. So remember the scriptures that say that we shall ravish the heathen's women?
Right.
So if you're getting ravished by a strange woman, you know, what's
She's
happening?
breaking you off.
You're overcome by it. You know, you loving it. You like, oh shit, I don't know what to do without this. Oh. Go ahead and bring out the definition real quick.
And then before he does that, I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying before.
Go ahead.
Like you said, you got to seek this out. You don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I got the knowledge. It's there. I knew from the get-go. I knew from the beginning. And when you seek that out, you are provided wisdom. You can go search for wisdom, but at the end, like you said, it's a woman, a man, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH. Wisdom, at the end of the day, is still a woman. So why are you going to go seek a woman first when you should be seeking YAHAWASHI? Because you can't seek Yahweh right now. He turned his back on us. We fucked up so bad that he doesn't want to look at us. His son, like I said, is pleading our case on why we shouldn't be destroyed.
God, he's like, yo, I died for them. Like, please just let me go get the men.
Let me get
right.
the one that I picked.
God.
And if you go with that, if you go with your lawyer versus saying, well, I can do it by myself. I got my wife here, or I got my girlfriend. She's telling me I don't need a lawyer. That's what wisdom's job is.
She breaking me off right now, jerking me off, handing me J's.
Like I said earlier in Proverbs 5. Let's see if we can bring it out. It was talking about a man that pondered. Here we go. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life, her ways are movable. So unless you ponder the way of life, the way that YAHAWASHI created, the way of life, you're going to follow wisdom wherever she takes you. She's movable because that's her job. She moves wherever she's placed. And who places her there? The Most High. So it's not the fact that it's up to you to go seek out that wisdom. It's up to the Lord to guide you toward it, to deliver it to you. Because you can seek it out till the cows come home. Doesn't mean you can found it. Just means you can say, oh, well, I'm tired.
I got a precept for you real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly I knew thee, and before thou camest out of the womb I sanctified thee, and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations.
Right, so if you're going to commit spiritual fornication, then you're going to do it. It was ordained for you to do that. Like this brother's saying, you can search for the Most High as much as and as badly as you want. Like the other brothers in other camps, they might be searching for true wisdom and understanding, but it was never set for them to be that way. Just like we might be searching for salvation and searching for understanding and remission of sin to be covered by the blood of the Lamb, but that doesn't mean that these brothers sitting before you right now are chosen. That doesn't mean the brothers that come to this word in the Lord's name, which is YAHAWASHI, to be meek and humble and come before him, that they're not set to be destroyed. Just like it was chosen for, like his brother said in Jeremiah 1, it was set before you to be chosen from the womb to be a prophet. Jeremiah didn't want to come before the Lord and be a prophet of the Lord. He didn't know that was his duty.
He literally said, I am but a child.
I am but a child.
God, and that's that meek spirit. So that's not like for us to sit here and tell you that brothers might be in this video right now attempting to be, come back from our sins and come away from the life that has led us to destruction, but that the 2/3 or the individual next door that's doing multitudes of wickedness hasn't been preordained to be chosen. And he didn't just crack his eyes open and wake up because the Lord said it for him to wake up at the end. He didn't do any works. He didn't come out. But that's why the elders is doing videos upon videos upon. It's not about the works, man. It's about that spirit, and it's about who the Lord is dealing with.
You got more on that 5?
I just want to
Bring
grab
out
that definition.
Come.
20. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger?
Ravish.
So ravish. Seize and carry off someone by force. Who does that fit? Not only is that a cut to who the Israelites are, who is ravished? Who was ravished? What nation was ravished? Whose history was ravished? What culture was ravished? Which people? Not only does this fit the so-called Negroes, but it fits all the 12 tribes.
John, look how we were taught that strange woman. Look at that movie Roots, man. Look when the Kintes get whooped. That's how religion was passed down to us, man. That's how the Catholicism. I didn't even say that word right. What's that word?
Catholicism.
Catholic. I can't say it. Say it again.
Catholicism.
Catholicism. But that's how Catholic. I'm done trying to say it. But that's how that was brought upon our people, man. All right, through the whip, through being ravished, man, by force. Okay. You brought that, religion and iniquity along with your wicked government and your wicked ways of life, man. And our people ran away with it. Our people accepted it. All right.
Just on the word nigger.
Okay.
Even found a way to run away with that. Turn it into nigga, my nigga.
Okay.
Right. Where did that start? I mean, let's look at
that started the plantation.
Let's start with the origins of that. That's when Israel fell.
Okay.
Because they didn't listen to we didn't listen to the Lord, because the Spirit were back again in the flesh,
Okay.
paying for that same sin. Israel fell because we decided to deal with the nations. We decided to deal with the heathens' customs, which we were told not to do.
Okay.
And with those customs, look at what we've done.
The
What our
pinnacle of
people,
wickedness.
where our people have done. Now you look at Israel, you look at Jake as a whole,
It's like
and
a
we're
joke.
more wicked than the heathens.
It's a joke, bro. It's honest. It's almost like the brothers always say, man. Lord, one day we're gonna wake up in the kingdom and just be like, man, I had this horrible dream.
It's a bad dream.
It was such a bad.
It's a
I
nightmare.
lost all my shit to this ugly ass cave dweller, this Edomite. He was fucking us up, and he had our people killing each other, and we was selling drugs and doing drugs and fucked up on the sidewalks and prostitutes and all kinds of shit, crack whorehouses and the whole nine, man. It was crazy, man. And we gonna look to our left and see our Edomite butler and choke the shit out of him.
Con. With that multiplied hatred
Con.
given 2 times on him. And the second definition, I have to bring this out because it's just furthermore evidence and judgment, condemnation on the point that we're trying to make right now with spiritual fornication.
Oh, I don't know why I can't say that word right now.
It says fill, and it could be someone or something, fill with intense delight or enrapture. So with spiritual fornication, you have been pleased through the flesh.
Ravished.
Just because it feels good to do something doesn't mean that it's okay to do it. Could you ponder a secondary thought long enough to fulfill the enlightenment of the fact that what you're doing may lead you to death? That it might just feel so good that it was set up to feel that good for a reason, to bring you unto a destination? That's why the apostles said that this truth in their mouth was sweet in the beginning, and in the end, in the latter thereof, it became bitter. This work right here is about being a soldier. It's not easy to try and follow YAHAWASHI and follow in his footsteps, which no man will do. That shows you the things of this life, that spiritual fornication, dealing with the heathen's customs, dealing with the things of this world. It's pleasure, it's joy, it's bliss. That's why it says, ignorance is bliss. And honestly, through the Spirit, we could really hit the rest of this chapter if we wanted to. But let's go ahead and jump on to some more of that. If y'all brothers want to carry on to the 5th chapter of Proverbs, it's really just complete edification on that whole point. What do you got?
I just looked at your paper, and I didn't even know that you said that, and I was sitting on this.
Oh, was he? Bring it out.
You want me to hit this?
You got any step sock as well after that? Hit that first if you want.
Okay. I'm gonna start at
No, for the
1
show.
and I'm gonna jump down to 6.
Okay.
And it says, moreover, this is 1 Corinthians 10:1. It says, moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant, now that all of our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through by the sea. All right, I'm jumping to 6. And it says,
Wait. You said by what? By what?
through the sea.
Okay.
Not the field.
Now these things were our example, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Neither ye be idolaters, as were some of them, as it was written, the people sat down to eat and drink, and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 23,000.
Okay, so that's not only a physical fornication in the flesh, but just as we have reiterated in this lesson, there's a physical and there's a spiritual. You can go get with another man's woman and commit adultery in the flesh, but what is the Lord talking about with that twofold scripture, that double-edged sword in the spirit? How are you committing adultery in the spirit? How are you committing spiritual adultery? You're laying with these other doctrines. You're laying with these other things in this world. Not only does that count for idolatry, when it was the golden calf worship in the ancient times, all the way to 2 chains now.
Baal, the dragon.
Other things, man. Idolism in the sense that you're putting more time and praise and interest in something that leads you to corruption and furthermore destroys who you are. And I wanted to bring out the definition of what you just said as well, which is lust. Okay, what does it mean to lust? I mean, you brothers may know this off the top of your heads already, but lust, a very strong sexual desire, or being a verb, have a very strong sexual desire for someone. So of course you have that definition being in the flesh, but what is that very strong sexual desire or very strong desire in the spirit? Because Islam tastes so good in your mouth. Because Muhammad seemed like he came in the flesh. Because it was written to be that way. That's why you see people eat pork. Me and this brother was at work today, and
everybody was at the Pig Latin.
Bro, there was so many jakes at
that shit was sad.
It was a Pig Latin truck. The name was Pig Latin.
And all they had was pork.
You couldn't even get a burger. You couldn't go over there and get something like chicken or a fucking side of coleslaw or something.
No.
All you could get was a piggy meal and some pork. And who did you see lined up there? Stocked up was Jake, man. So that's that spiritual fornication. Who taught Jake to eat pig? Pork.
Who forced Jake to eat pig?
And then that as well, because then you had the multitudes of nations afterwards when we went into captivity for condemnation of our sins, where we didn't have no choice. Where that's why we coming back in this life right now.
Used to eat pork.
Right. Or having the desire to eat catfish or
some shrimp.
Or the custom of calling each other nigga. Or the custom of calling each other or hating your brother. That's why the southern and northern kingdoms are divided. Who's the author of that confusion? That's all I got on that.
Yeah, that's good.
You got said too?
Oh no, I was after you finished.
I'm gonna jump down to 11. I think I'm gonna jump to 17 or 18 after that. And it says, now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they are written for our in moderation, unto whom the ends of the world are come.
Right, read that again, Salak.
Now all these things happen unto them for an example.
An example. It was an example to go off. It was an example for the Lord to be righteous at first, with the righteousness of Israel exalted, to become wicked and wax worse and worse and worse, and to become righteous again through the election of the elect in the 1/3.
Okay. And I just want to say that there's a Greek word in here. I think it's there for it happened for them. I think it's supposed to be in between for an example, and it says ion, which means age, which means a time of, just a period of time. So when it happened, I think it's that word where it says happen. I think the ion means the age of this happening. It was for an example. So the age of us being in Babylon and in captivity and going off and following these these heathens' customs and these laws of Edomites and these heathens' way of life, during this age was all for example, so that YAHAWASHI can complete the circle, man.
Wait, how's it spelled?
It's a ion, I-O-N.
Oh, I-O-N?
Yeah. Meaning edge in the Greek.
Yeah, I think they might have changed that from A-E-I or A-E-O-N.
Come.
That would have been the original. And that's where eon is derived from.
Come. Alright. And it says, they are written for our admiration, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall.
Right. Good.
Go ahead, bro.
Lest he fall, man. Take heed of what our forefathers did. And that's funny because my next step will literally, that's the spirit, man. Look at how our forefathers fell. If you're an Israelite, if you're a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, our forefathers all committed spiritual fornication, and through that we fell. And here we are, picking up the pieces. Doesn't matter what you look like, but if your spirit goes back to those men in either a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, what lesson are you going to learn? What point is the Lord trying to make from making us discontinue our heritage until now, begging and pleading and hoping for remission of sin, that we are able to be accepted and through the election of the Most High?
This is 18. It says, behold, Israel after the flesh are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar. Jump to 20, and it says, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to Yahawah.
Right, so just like the apostles, man, there were certain apostles that had different nations of mothers. Just like my mother is not an Israelite. And I look the way I do.
I believe, not to interrupt you, brother, but I believe King Solomon's mother was a Moabite.
And that doesn't mean that you're not an Israelite, because you are who you are through your father. But being a partial of your mother having that custom embarked on you as a child, you took part in those customs. Okay, that was the slow degradation of the law, statutes, and commandments, because you had your husband, the man's woman in the household talking about, well, my family grew up doing this, this, and this, and this is our belief. Just like you have people that believe in Christmas, you have people that believe in Thanksgiving. It's the same deal right now to then. So we did away with our ancient and natural customs being Israelites to move into that of the Gentiles, which that is a multiple world meaning. Of course, the Lord is referring to the strangers. Those are the seed of the patriarch. Of course, they're the only ones that can keep the law, statute, and commandments, but there's also a multiplicity of words there. Gentiles being also strangers, being those that are not of Israel. That's a word that's lost in translation that you have to go and take time to look up and look into to find out what and when that's referring to.
And that's another reason why I have to go into etymology, man. Into the study of words, because, you know, like the word world has 5 different meanings. Gentile has, I believe, 3. You know? So to get the full understanding, you have to know which meaning is, or which definition is being used when. And it says, and not to Yahawah, and I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of the devils.
Wait, who's the devil?
These Edomites, man. Being the son of perdition, being red, being out of Wamam, wasted away is he.
Could you hit that one more time, Babu Shah?
And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of the devils.
So there's a clear separation between the spiritual and the flesh. And my attempt with this video is to bring home that fact, that point, that there's a separation between who the Lord's dealing with and who he's not. The Lord is not going to accept you dealing with these other nations' customs and committing spiritual fornication and dabbling in other nations and dealing with him. It's either him or nothing.
Like we was just literally speaking about earlier, it's his way or the highway.
You can't be lukewarm. I hate getting in the shower anymore. It might be winter time and I'm getting in the fucking shower and the water is mildly getting hot because we live on the 3rd floor in this raggedy ass apartment and it takes a minute for this shit to work up here. I touch my toe in the shower. Oh no, I can't get in the shower. It's lukewarm. It's kind of chilly.
I like that.
I can't do it. I gotta wait till it's hot.
And it says, Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of the devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?
And that's just purely a sarcasm.
Yeah, that's
For
like,
those that don't understand these dark parables, man. And YAHAWAH for this ability to be a part of this awakening and this revival of Israel. Because that right there tells you everything you need to know. Okay, you can't be partakers of this truth and be partakers of other things. Either you're going to be all for it or you ain't going to be nothing a part of it. That's why you got these other camps doing what they're doing, blaspheming the name, because it's their party to do that. And the Lord's going to let you do that until he burns you up to a crisp in this coming World War III, which is here, which is right now. That's a different subject, but you had a precept, right?
Oh, no, I'll go hold this for another day.
Is it different?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go ahead and end this on Proverbs 14 and 12. Would you mind grabbing that for me, Art? We'll end it on that, and then we may pick this subject up another time because I had a bunch of more steps to deal with, but through the Spirit, the Spirit gets what it wants, and brothers have things to point out about certain things, and hopefully this was edifying, but we're going to end on this.
And this is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
Yapa. And the next verse, Bible show.
Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of the mirth is heaviness.
So you're going to have to deal with what you do. It's very easy. It's very simple. You reap what you sow. If you're a man of carnality, you're going to die a man of carnality. If you're a spiritual man and you deal with the spiritual and you forsake yourself and your flesh, you will find salvation if it's the Lord's will. If not, then hit that top verse one more time.
There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
So the last hammer home, it may feel good. Pork may taste good. Sticking another man's woman may feel good. Dealing with other doctrines may feel some type of way. But does that mean it's right? Absolutely not. And if you're an individual that feels that that's the way that you should continue down the way, that way is what, Art?
Death.
Death. So with that, I pray and hope that this lesson was edifying. And we want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, all the way down to the elders in other camps. And until next time, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.